Welcome back to my own personal cycle vlog. I promised you that I would do like a chart analysis of my previous cycle. Um, to give you a little update, I am almost 15 months postpartum with my second, and my cycle is more regular this time postpartum than it was the first time postpartum and any time before that in my life. So that's a really great thing. But I am still having to work pretty hard on addressing some cycle issues. So I'm just going to go over that, looking at my last cycle, and then kind of tell you what I'm doing moving forward. So here we go. So you can see this is my previous cycle. I've already started a new cycle. I'm actually already halfway through. So that's just reality of how time flows. Um, I started my cycle the day after my 29th birthday. Woe is me. Anyway, August 10th was cycle day 1. 6 days of bleeding was actually the least amount that I've had since starting my cycle back in May postpartum. So also the first time since starting cycling again that I did not have to use multiple products in order to not bleed through, which was really huge for me. That alone, so whenever we're looking at menstruation tells you the hormonal activity from the last cycle. So when we have estrogen present, estrogen plays a role in proliferating or building up the uterine lining. So when we have someone, or we have myself in this case, who is having really heavy bleeding, we're also looking for clotting in that. I actually didn't have clotting, which is good, but really heavy bleeds or a lot of blood loss over 5 to 7 days indicates high estrogen activity. I already know that about myself, but I'm explaining that for your sake. So I'm looking for improvements in my bleeding. This is an improved cycle for me. I was really grateful for that. I did have several days of dry between the end of my menses and then the start of like what would be considered fertile days. But this time, this is actually the first time this has ever happened to me. I've had clients that this has happened with, and it actually happened this cycle that I'm in right now too. But cycle day 11, I had some spotting and it was very slight. It was actually like blood tinged cervical fluid. And so that would tell me that I had rapid hormonal change. And so estrogen started building really quickly. And so I had the presence of cervical fluid, but it also had some spotting in there with that. This isn't something that we want to see, but sometimes when we see cycle improvements in one area, we can kind of see some shifts in other areas. So I'm not totally concerned about it. I do hate that it happened 2 months in a row, but it's okay. I'm working on that and I'm good with it. So you can see I actually did not do my cervical fluid charting very well this month or during this cycle, but I did hit most temperatures. I was traveling on between cycle day 15 and 18, and so that's what you see there, just kind of outside my norm on a girls' weekend. But you do also see on cycle day between 21 and 22, my temperature actually finally dipped. So estrogen rose high enough to a peak that it triggered the luteinizing hormone for ovulation. So that's where we have this dip in temperature. My temperatures are actually really pretty low. And I'm still trying to figure out why that is exactly. Um, could be because my thyroid, could be mouth breathing, could be a number of things. So whenever I figure that out, I will report back. But cycle day 22 is when ovulation was about to occur. So temp drops with estrogen peak. And then when ovulation has happened, we see this rise in temperature. So we did get almost a full degree rise the next day, but it continues to elevate, which is good. A shorter luteal phase than I would like to see, but I did ovulate a little later. And so you can also see that these little dips in temperature could possibly be from a secondary rise in estrogen or my body's inability to detox estrogen well, which is my guess right now because I'm dealing with some estrogen dominance. So this cycle was also a little longer than my previous cycles. I'd been around 30 days, 30 to 32 days. So this one was just a little bit longer. I actually started spotting in the evening of the cycle day 34 and started during the night that night. So we don't like to see spotting at the end, like progesterone dropping off, causing spotting to happen. But overall, not my best cycle, not the worst cycle. I really didn't have like a ton of adverse symptoms. I did cycle day 1 have some cramping through the night of just like my period starting. And so other than that, the start of this cycle I'm in right now was actually pretty good. So anyway, that's just kind of a brief look at my cycle. And honestly, it has been getting so much better, and I'm really encouraged by that. The things that I've been working on is always adequate protein and carb intake and fat in with that. We need fat in order to make hormones. But I'm always hitting breakfast, lunch, and dinner really well with snacks in between. Been working on some mineral support. I have some stuff going on with my thyroid right now and hair loss. And so that's kind of like all wrapped up in that. I'm doing an HTMA soon and would love to kind of go over my results here too. And HTMA is basically you cut your hair, you send it off for analysis. So it's hair tissue mineral analysis. And what it does is give you a glimpse at how your body's using minerals and storing them in your tissue. So long term, not like blood serum, taking a blood sample and seeing what's happening right now. This is like over the long term, how your body's able to utilize those things. So anyway, I'm really curious about that, especially with my thyroid issues. But yeah, nourishing, focusing on getting at least a raw carrot or raw carrot salad in daily. And then also focusing on sleep, which has kind of suffered over the last year, obviously having a baby, but I'm also a doula. And so my sleep pattern, being on call and things like that, definitely has taken a hit, but it's going to get better. I'm off call now until January, and I'm looking forward to really focusing on continuing to heal my body and see improvements in my cycle. If you have questions or you're interested in learning about your cycle, let me know. I'm here for you, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity to share what my cycle's doing and maybe shed a little light on how you can learn your cycle and improve your quality of life too. Peace.